outside lane, missing exits, I'm glued to the pavement. Between the lines, I'll keep my gaze straight ahead as the last stop flies by. No more waiting for the gun to fire. No more walking through revolving doors. I've gone around once, and I don't need to go around anymore. It's time to break away. Forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway. Cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right again? Don't you wanna feel whole? Don't you wanna feel? Full steam through the setbacks. You can't win them all, but I'm proud I tried. I'm glad we had a dialogue. It's good to shape the mind. Speeding up the pace, turning up the heat. Where I need to be for the first time. I'm taking risks, I'm casting off without a lifeline. Break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway. Cancel the cruise control. Switch it in the manual. Don't you wanna feel right again? Don't you wanna feel whole? Don't you wanna feel? Don't you wanna, don't you wanna, don't you wanna feel break away, forget your sober case. Stop dwelling on empty words. Stop stalling in the doorway.
Rightio, welcome everyone. Fortunately, without getting in trouble with copyright, that's all we can listen to of that song. But I think it's working. I've just reinstalled Voice Meter, so this is going to be shoddy as. I will move that to that side of the screen, just for the sake of easiness, so you guys can see when my doors open and close. But basically, yeah, we're up in far north Queensland. I'm currently just on the anchor off Snapper Island. So, gonna go do some float flying around far north Queensland. This could be fun. Yeah, cool. That's showing up. Awesome. So we shall, without delay, turn that down a little bit so that I can hear myself think, and we'll fire up. So close the door. Passengers are all strapped in. We're in a fairly light configuration today. It's a regular caravan. There's our weight and balance if anyone's interested. About half fuel and we're well within the envelope. Yeah, we're online as Whiskey Alpha Sierra today, which reminds me, we'll go ahead and log on to VATSIM. I always forget to do at least one thing when I'm setting up. cool. So no real plan, to be honest. Sort of just gonna fly around, have some fun. I'm pretty sure I saw a combat caravan as an option there, so that's pretty cool. And I now have to quickly fix that because it doesn't like me like normal. Microphone device, that's correct. Speaker. Alright, I think that works. If anyone wants to jump on VATSIM and test out my radios, I wouldn't say no to that, but go ahead and get fired up now. So, and now maybe flight's not working. I'm quickly just going to go to that screen. It's not ending, but I just need to quickly text something on my screen. Alright, cool. Back to that. Yeah, no worries, man. Enjoy your game of chess. So we'll settle our switches up to be the same as the real life panels, which they now are. And we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll go avionics on, beacon and nav lights on. We'll throw the prop lever forwards and make sure that's set. Inertial separator can come on while we're on the water. That's set. We'll turn that on. And then we can go ahead, fuel pump on, remain clear of my propeller. And we'll quiet that down a bit for our ears. We're looking at it, watching the NG rise. Looking for 15%, and I'll throw in some fuel. And now I'm watching ITT. Oil pressure came up. Watching for a hot start or a hung start, which we got neither, so I'll go ahead and kick both of them off now, and I'll bring the avionics on, and I'll light the bird up because we're already on the water. Cool, wonderful. So now we'll go ahead and turn off docking hold. So now we can start to drift, and I'll make sure our water rudders are down, which I don't believe they are. So I'll go ahead and some interfering click regions there. I'll go ahead and drop them down. So now we can get some steering. There we go. And we may as well get up, do a bit of a flight, have a bit of a look, see what we can see. So I'll go ahead and just set up the last of a few things. Make sure that's correct. And we're just going to keep rolling here. Yeah, set 20 degrees of flaps before we forget. Rightio, so we're going to go ahead and quickly use this here to, or not that, one of these. There we go, so now we can see our wind barbs. We're going to want to take off in that direction there, so we'll go ahead and start turning in that direction. Now we're pointing in the right direction. We've got 20 degrees of flaps. We're going to bring our condition lever up to high idle. And we can now go ahead and I'm going to bring the yoke back into my lap. And I'm going to start to feed in some power. We're going to let off the back pressure now. Start pushing a bit. Let it get onto the step. Let it accelerate. Let it accelerate. We don't want to force it into the water. So there we go, we're up on the step now. Now our airspeed can really start climbing. Oh, it's a bit slow. But now we can keep pulling. I've just realised now we're actually going to reject this takeoff. So basically the reason for that rejection is my ground speed was going up and airspeed wasn't. So we actually worked out the wind wrong. Pretty easy mistake to make, but it's certainly an issue. So love that reverse thrust. You just turn it and you stop. So this makes more sense to what the water's doing as well. That was a bit of a mistake on my part. So we'll go ahead and turn into the wind now. Same situation, and we'll also make a radio call, which I didn't do last time. Snapper Island traffic. Whiskey Sierra Delta is a caravan. Rolls to the east. Going to be tracking northbound Snapper Island. And yeah, we'll make sure everything's a bit better set up this time. And there we go. We're ready to roll again. So I'm going to get a bit of power on. Push that in. Feed the power right in. And water rudders up. Hold that yoke back, the nose is up, so we can release that back pressure and start pushing. Let it pop onto the step, and yeah, I like that a bit more. And we can start pulling now. Just let the plane fly away. At this will, she's gonna have to go for a little bit longer, and then when it's ready, it'll leave the water right there. Beautiful. So now I'll pitch the nose down a little bit. Check my power, and 385, 1 notch flap. 395 flaps away, and we'll climb out at 104. And we can also go landing and taxi lights off. And we'll go ahead and turn up northbound here, shall we? Standard rate turn because we're climbing. And I actually reckon 500 feet will be enough. We're legal at 500 feet if we're trying to be realistic. So I'm actually going to push down and descend a little bit there, but we'll get some power out now. Loving the new synthetic vision in this new Xplane update. Works great. But we'll get some rudder trim in. We're even getting a terrain warning, but I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, we're ultra VFR, so I've got a fair idea of where we're going. I will admit I'm a bit rusty to float flying, so bear with me. Yeah, I know there's a few spots I know of along here that we can poke it down, have a look. Now there is the Daintree Airport just up here, but we'll probably won't land there. So it's just in there. There it is. So have a little look around. At this point we're just sort of cruising. I will climb up to 1,000 feet just so that we're nice and safe. But there's one other spot I'm going to head up to next called Cape Tribulation. Not far away now, but that's going to be our first landing for the day. They actually land seaplanes there. It's a real seaplane area, and it's just a bit of good fun. It's not a horribly tight spot, but you know it. You don't want to have never heard of it before and land there in real life. That's beautiful. Bit more power. Of course, keeping the airplane happy. The aileron trim there, getting it in, and a bit of rudder trim. This is just beautiful. Now, like any good glass cockpit pilot, we're going to go ahead and throw on the autopilot, which doesn't seem to want to work for us. Autopilot works, but I got no flight director, so that changes plans. We'll be hand flying today. Yeah, look at that. What a good airplane. So we're coming up on Cape Tribulation here now. We're going to land towards the west, which means we actually have to approach over the land, which it's a bit of a thought we got to make, but it's fine. So Cape Tribulation's just in there, and I'm going to land it that way. And I see the starter story. I am on that, see if anyone wants to have a look. But yeah, we're just coming up on Cape Tribulation now. New question. Why isn't our Valenta overlay working? Because I've set it up wrong. What a surprise. There you go. Now you can all judge my flying pretty violently. Alright, so we'll start to make our approach. I'm going to drop a notch of flap, just for more the drag than the reduced stall speed. Have a look from one of our passengers' POVs. Looks like water. So I'm going to turn over the land a little bit more here. Drop that second notch of flap. We're going to go ahead and do our bumfish checks, which is brakes, undercarriage up, mixture, or in this case condition lever, full. Instruments look good. Switches, we're going to go ahead and kick on our ignition. And hatches, harnesses are secure. Oh yeah, instruments, hatches, harnesses in that order. Now I'm going to really start to slow it down now. With the Caravan we have this beautiful angle of attack index for landing, so I'm going to have a look at it, as well as I'm aiming to slip it. You know when to do this in real life? There's a quiz question, why not? But yeah, I'm a little bit high and fast, so I'm just going to slip it in. Of course you would never do this in real life, but it's a flight simulator, so I'm not too worried. Now just before we kick up any water, I'm going to kick the inertial separator on. And just like land ops, this thing's going to stop really quickly. And now, as I get close to the water, I'm actually making a change of decisions and we're going to go around. Now, why? If you can see right there, we actually have a 15 knot crosswind, which is different to what we saw in the air. So I'm going to tract a bit of flap there, really get the power in. And we're going to skip this song because it's a new playlist. I'm not really quite sure what the heck it is, but my original one doesn't seem to exist anymore. I know whoever originally made it just decided, now I'm going to annoy people and delete it, and the music I like can't play, so. Alright, there we go, so we're actually going to end up coming in through there. So I'm not going to climb up too high, I'm going to leave in 20 degrees of flap here, because we're still ready for landing. And the inertial separator can come back on now that we don't need full power. And we'll slow on down here. Now I will just let you know that speed you see on the overlay there, that is actually ground speed, not air speed. So if it looks a little bit weird, that is why. I'm a little bit slower than I'd want to be here, but that's completely fine. We're at 14 knot crosswind, but if we get the same conditions on this landing, as I pop over here, that's going to change all to headwind. So make a little turn over the hill. I'm just going to hold it off the water. Oh, again, I haven't flown floats in a while, so I'll take that for a first landing. We'll get the reverse thrust on, and we'll let it slow down. And we'll go ahead and drop those water rudders. And now we're on the ground. Strobe lights can come off, ignition can come off. Cape Tribulation Caravan, Whiskey, Alpha Sierra, taxis back to the docks, Cape Tribulation. So unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with this really high nose angle all the way in. But there's not much we can do about that, so it's like flying a tail dragger almost, the way you got to steer it in. So I'm just going to come in and pop into these docks, what appear to be docks over here. Not exactly quite sure what they are, but there's boats, and I'm basically a boat, so we'll go say hi. Turn my landing light off now too, no reason to have it on. You're not sure what those boats are connected to, but we'll come in to land, have a look at what there is to see. Weight and balance all been screwed up? Nah, well, may as well get some more nose weight just to try and bring this nose angle down for you. And also turn standby power off, just, we don't really need it when we're taxiing around like this. But yeah, so here's a nice little spot that there is around, yeah, north of Cairns. Only about 100 miles north of Cairns, so it's really not that far. A few little boats. We're in some really shallow water here, so as they make my turn, I got to be careful with keeping power in. Cool. Oh, no reason to delay. Let's get on to the next spot. We're going to chuck in 20 degrees of flap. Light her up. So lights, camera, action. I like it. Let's get out of here. Cape Tribulation traffic. Caravan Whiskey Alpha Sierra rolls to the southwest, push to the north. Cape Tribulation. Alright, let's get the power in. Let's get the stall horn off as we jump up onto the step. I'm just going to hold that little bit of back pressure in and let it fly off the water. A bit more back pressure. I want to hold that nose at 10 degrees. And we fly off the water. Beautiful. Again, like last time, we're going to dip the nose, not let it descend though. 85, first notch. There's going to be a slight delay in acceleration. And 95, there comes all the flap. A little bit low to be making this turn, but it's fine. We'll be at a safe altitude. 200 feet, lights are off, and flaps have come up. And ignition is also off. Before we forget, we'll get standby power back on. And cool. We'll start up to the next spot. I'm not sure if we're able to get whether Xplane simulates tides, and if it does, I don't know if we'll be able to get in up here. But anyway, nevertheless, we'll pop up a little bit of a longer flight to this next spot, but it's worth it because it'll be a bit of a more fun landing. How's it sound, by the way? I had to completely redo my mix because I reinstalled voice meter, but it should be working. Inertial separator can come back in long ago now. May as well get the other synthetic vision options on. I'll go turn on. So now we can see some airport signs. So if we ever have an engine issue, obviously I'm going to put it in the water. But if you're in a wheeled aircraft or over land, the airport signs are nice, so you know immediately where to point. Well, a little bit high, so I'll just push it down. But we're getting nice and close to this next spot. Now, just for context, this next spot, it's just in here, next to Ayton, but we're going to be talk on Bloomfield River traffic because of how close we are going to be to the airport. So I'll load it up in our thing. There you go. So we're 10 miles out, so I'm going to go ahead and make a call. Bloomfield River traffic, C Caravan, Whiskey Alpha Sierra, 10 miles to the south. Inbound for a water landing near the town of Ayton. We'll be overflying the field on approach at approximately time 4:05 Bloomfield. So just around here we'll set up, but we're going to go out over and then back around, and we are going to fly over the airport on approach to the water. Now we'll go land on the first pass if we can, but just because, like I said, it's a little bit sketchy into here. If the first pass becomes an inspection pass, that's not a worry either. Look at these beautiful cliff edges. Gotta love far north Queensland. How's the stream, guys? Let me know. Gotta love those terrain warnings. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the engine. You can't. Let's fix that before our next landing. Sound. Yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, the problem with using voice meter is I have a lot of inputs on this computer. So now if we quickly do a... or something that's going to make a heap of noise. Okay, cool, I can see that on the mix. Cool. Alright, well anyways, here's the river we're going to land in. It does... whoa. It's borderline, I'll have to have a look from the other end, but... it's pretty comfortable I can land in the river. Again, we'll check on that early notch flap. And that's my runway right there. Oh, now we did leave the water rudders down on the last departure, so I'll chuck them back up. Bloomfield, river traffic, Whiskey Alpha Sierra flight plan landing to the south of the Aton township. Expecting on the ground time 4-5, Bloomfield. Alright, second notch of flap. Bumfish again, brakes, undercarriage, mixture, fuel, instruments, switches, hatches, instruments, hatches, harnesses. And I'll go ahead and get on the rest of those flaps. Again, we're a little bit fast, but I'm not worried because we got plenty of reverse thrust and I can slip it in if we need to. What I can do is just pull a bunch of angle of attack in this turn and bleed all that speed off. Again, not something you want to do in real life because of the risk of stall spin, but you can do it here in the sim. So, yes, thank you, airplane. I'm aware that I'm landing. Now, looking at this again, we're actually probably not going to make a landing on this pass. I'm just going to make this an inspection pass. So, clean the aircraft up a little bit. I probably could have made it work, but we'll just make this an inspection. Positive rate away from the water, just so we don't accidentally touch it. And we'll climb away. How's it look, by the way? Everything seems to be okay, I hope. Cool. Alright, we may as well have another go at this. Bloomfield River traffic. Whiskey Alpha Sierra float caravan going around for the river. Gonna be making a little landing on the river. West-east. Bloomfield River traffic. Alright, cool. So we're going to stay right at the minimum legal altitude here. And I'm going to slow down a little bit earlier in the circuit this time. Brakes, undercarriage, mixture, fuel, instruments, switches, instruments, hatches, harnesses. Instruments, switches. Okay, 20 degrees of flaps. I mean, it's like child's play in this thing. I'm just going to set up for a little bit longer final to avoid what we had last time. Turn over this mountain and then we'll drop in. I'm going to put it through that valley there. I'm going to go 30 degrees of flap just so that I have a little bit more slowing down power. I do wish the Caravan had that 40 degrees of flap that some of the older 172s have, but we don't. Because now would be a perfect time to use it, just working around these mountains where you want that extra. But you want to be able to slow down for the river quickly. And there we go, chop it to idle. Doing those nice steep turns to try and bleed a bit of speed off, and we'll turn to final. If my instructor's watching, I would not do this in real life. Oh, that was not one I'm proud of. I think I was, yeah, I screwed that right up there. I was looking at some glitch, visual glitch, and I stopped paying attention to my speed. So, call that a bit of a latent handling threat, I reckon. Or a latent handling error. And I'm just going to have a bit of a sort of chuck a Yui here. Chuck the water rudders down. And we'll actually dock, I reckon, here. Could be a bit of fun. Pull it out of high idle. For to rate that landing, I'd personally rate it a 1 out of 10. And we'll dock just next to this street here, which is called, don't quiz me on it, First Street. Oh, and then there's Second Street and Third Street. See, they get very creative with the names here, but anyway. I'm going to keep that turn coming. Just let the wind blow us in. So we dock nice and gently. Or slightly less gently. Anyway, we're going to use the wonderful docking hold. And then just like pop us back into the water. There we go. Beautiful. So we'll get it just perfect. There we go. It's cool. I'm actually going to go ahead and shut down now. So we'll go. Don't need quite as many lights on. I'll turn the avionics off. Standby power off. I'm going to go bring the prop down. Feather the prop. Which my axis is a little bit funny there. So I'm honestly just going to. The ITT was stable, so we can now go ahead and kill it. And I'll set the flaps to 20 before we shut the batteries off. That was a pretty good little flight up here. We'll continue some more in just a minute. But we're going to sit here for just 2 seconds while I check some things. I'll open the door up, don't want to get too hot. Same thing for the passengers. Ah, yeah, you'd normally go on the other side, but it is fine. Let them get out for a bit of a walk. In fact, I have a plug-in so we can get out and walk around ourselves. Beautiful.
I laid awake just begging to let go. I almost got to suicidal thoughts, but you stepped in. An angel sent from heaven showed me how to live again. Now I'm falling and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye. Gravity.